No, we'll just do the audio.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll just do it.
You can just put it on a YouTube video with a picture, like
Yeah.
or something.
Like the old days.
A cute picture of
Maduro or something, because we're going to be talking about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Put a picture of Maduro swagging out. He's just swagging out, dancing. I love that news report that was like, apparently because Trump is like an egotistical, like dumbass. The only reason there's good evidence to suggest that basically the only reason this happened was because Trump was triggered by Maduro, like dunking on him and dancing all the time. Like,
yeah, there were multiple reports, people saying that like that's the reason that he ultimately decided to go with kidnapping him as opposed to just like, I don't know, because like Trump was doing the taco thing. He was doing like just like ratcheting up tensions, but taking weeks to do it, saying we're gonna bomb. There was like the CIA thing where they blew up something, and then it was just like everybody's like, oh, I guess nothing's gonna happen. I guess he's not really gonna do anything. Everybody's like taking bets on Kalshi whether they're gonna invade Venezuela before 2026. And then they do this, and everybody's saying, yeah, it's because of the dancing. Like, the dancing was what really put him over the edge, and that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. And normally I would think that shit's fake. Like, I would think that's some liberal shit, like liberals saying, like, you know, liberals making it about Trump's personality rather than, like, material conditions, because that's how liberals operate. But I genuinely believe that this has more to do with,
that makes
like,
sense.
Trump's personality than anything, because Trump is one of the few people that you can actually really say, yeah, probably, like, he is.
A lot of people are saying he was like mocking Trump's dance too. Like they had the similar kind of dance.
I love that.
Well, it's really funny because you know, if Trump has, I just question if he has like any cognitive ability whatsoever at this point. And so, you know, if he sees Maduro stunning on him like that, can he even comprehend it? Can he even comprehend the fact that Maduro is like pulling out all these moves and getting way more bitches?
I think that's exactly what he comprehends.
Yeah. Can you comprehend that Maduro is a swagged out white boy goated with the sauce? Can you even comprehend that? Can you even comprehend that? He's a quirked up white boy, busting it down sexual style, dabbing on Trump, and Trump just can't fucking handle it. Trump is like he's in the cope cage. He's coping. He's in the cuck chair. He's watching Maduro. Swag it out, absolutely just bust it down sexual style, and he just can't fucking handle it.
What if when they kidnapped him, they brought him into Trump's office and was like, "All right, you got to teach him these moves." Like show him how it's done. And Maduro's like, I'm sorry, what? Oh,
he's busting it down, sexual style. We can't have that. We gotta.
You know, I've met a lot of people who dance way worse than I do, but Maduro, that cheeky Mexican, he can really dance really super well. You know, we're gonna raid Venezuela. Providence of Mexico, as some people like to call it.
Venezuela, like he would say something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the Somalians and put them in Venezuela.
The Venezuelans, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
and then he's like, and also we're taking their oil.
Yeah, he just say that. I mean, that's the one thing I respect about Trump. It's not like real respect, but it's like, he says the thing.
He's
like,
very upfront about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, good. I'm actually glad. I would much rather the US empire be mask off and say what their wars are about, because if you actually want people to like get on board with hating America, that's how you do it.
It's so wild. Like for years, I've been trying to articulate that position, like between, not between them, but like a different position, not a third position, but like a different position from the fucking liberals who think Trump bad because America is good and Trump is bad for America. And then the MAGA communists who think Trump good because Trump is good for America and America is good. That's just a fucking neocon position, and they're just dressing it up as Marxism. So I actually think Trump is bad, and that is good because America is bad. And so whatever is bad for America is therefore good. So if you have this guy who is mask off and he's like making all these fucking like last week I laughed in front of some liberals' face about the plaques that Trump put under all the presidents and like this walk of shame that he made for all the past presidents, and he's like, he was trashing them. I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy so much. He's so funny. And this liberal's like, you love him? I'm like, well, he's really funny. Like you cannot deny that he can't do good things, but he can do funny things, and he does them a lot. Like he does very funny things all the time, and it's just great because this is what America is. And they were like, yeah, but this makes us look so bad. It makes us look like such a joke of a country. I'm like, yes, that's why
we are a joke of a country.
Bad country. Like,
yeah.
It's like it's and when you laugh about it and they like, no, this is very serious. Trump's actions have very serious consequences, and you shouldn't laugh at it. And it's like, but then when like a Democrat's in power, they don't give a shit anymore. When a Democrat does the exact same thing, they don't give a shit. So it's like, I don't know, I think liberals just like appearing to be concerned about people's lives, but they don't care.
Yeah.
What do you guys have as far as like serious takes on Venezuela? Because I have a couple of thoughts, but before I get into them, I'll let you guys go.
Joe,
I've got a couple. I've got a couple things. So basically, what we understand right now is that Maduro
Israel
and his wife were kidnapped. Israel sucks. Israel needs to be destroyed. We understand that all Palestinians are based, and they should kill all Jews. And so I wrote a Substack article a little while ago talking about the very specific instance where the U.S. Navy seized that oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. And I basically wrote it out. I was just like, this is obviously this in conjunction with the massive military buildup and like an actual physical blockade on their ports, trying to keep them from getting oil out of the country. This is a further extension of U.S. imperialism. It's going to be in the aim of toppling Maduro's government. There's going to be repercussions for all of this, and these are escalating tensions that are going to keep going until something happens. And then I said basically this is just going to be another thing, another entry on that list of Latin American coups that has been progressing for like 25 years. Like the US has been like failing to overthrow the Venezuelan government since like Chavez, right? They're putting Maduro on trial and giving him a bunch of like bullshit charges, like possession of weapons, possession of grenades, and possession of like just like bombs and explosives and things like that. But he's literally a head of state from another country. So why is that happening? But anyways,
shouldn't have them. It's against American law for him to have them, so he shouldn't have like.
Yeah,
I love the fact that he's being charged with like domestic American.
That is the funniest shit out of the whole thing.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Though, like, he actually doesn't have his driver's license isn't valid in the state of Texas. We need to get him on that.
He does not have a New York pistol permit, and we brought him into New York where he had his pistol, and now he's got to go to jail.
Oh, don't worry, Mike. Yeah. I'm sure Mamdani will stop this trial from happening.
Oh my God,
that's another topic to bring up. Is like what Mamdani could possibly do. Not that he would do any of it. Like,
yeah. What could he do other than just say, "Oh no, Maduro's in New York. Well, I stand by America," and whatever they do, and it's like, okay, you've literal sock puppet.
Yeah,
you're just saying whatever you're told to say by your Democratic team.
Fact of the matter is, as the mayor of New York City, he actually has more power than he thinks he does. Would he be able to stop the trial or anything like that? Obviously not. Like, he's a mayor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does he have the power to make things really, really fucking annoying for everyone involved? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Of course he does. He could make it really, really, really annoying and cause a massive headache for Trump and for the prosecution in the trial. He could do that. And he might even make it so annoying that Trump decides to like move the trial to another state or something like that.
Which would be funny. Like that would be a huge just what do you call it, performative win for liberals. Like they would love that shit. It wouldn't really make much difference, but they would love that, and they would dunk on us for years about that shit. Like,
yeah,
very true.
But he's not even going to fucking do that because he doesn't care.
I have at some point tonight, I have a lot of things to say about the Chapo episode I listened to today that I thought was like their episode 999, and it was like one of the worst, like most shit-lib, embarrassing episodes I've ever heard from them. As someone who's like still just a fan, like I still like listen to the show because I think they're funny, and like I grew up like as a baby leftist, like listening to them over the last like 5 or 6 years, but like it was fucking embarrassing. Like, and one of the big parts of it was the wish casting they did for Mamdani. Like they talked about exactly this, saying like, couldn't he like restrict the city or state expenses that are being used to hold this trial? Couldn't he like block toll roads that they have to use when they transport him from the one courthouse to another in a different borough every day? Like, couldn't they do? And it's like he could. He certainly could do a lot of things. But this is literally 2013 era like Obama wish casting, where you do not like yet accept the reality in front of your eyes that the guy you voted for and supported is a fucking neoliberal and has said that and done that, like has shown you with every action and word that has come out of him. You just refuse to accept it. And it's like they're 3 days into this guy's like tenure. They like brought Maduro there like 3 days in, and I think that's partly intentional to dunk on him, to make him feel like just totally bamboozled, like flustered because they're just like throwing all this like international intrigue at him in his city. But it's like, even if he like were the man for the hour, even if he were just like some ballsy guy who could handle that situation, he doesn't want to do that. That is not his motivation at all. Like he is just another AOC Bernie person. Like
he just wants the bag. He wants to collect his fucking paycheck as mayor, appear progressive, because this is just a stepping stone for him to like to do a presidential run in like 5 to 10 years. That's all this is. He doesn't want to rock the boat. Like,
yeah.
And
he'll use all the. Sorry.
I was just going to say the Chapo. I still listen to Chapo, and I haven't listened to the most recent episode about Venezuela, and I had a feeling that it would have some shit-lib stuff about.
It's so bad, dude. Like they didn't. I don't think they called him a dictator, but they like were not like super. I mean, I guess they were pretty sympathetic to Maduro, but they. The thing that really grated me, I think, was when they also demanded that China do more. And I'm like, you fucking assholes with a podcast, literal millionaires with a podcast who live in New York, and then sit there on your episode and say, oh, what can we do? We can't not pay taxes. I can't go and start like busting it. Like, they started doing like the terrorist fantasies of like shooting individual, like powerful people or ICE agents or something. I'm like, this is literally the retardation that I'm talking about that goes on in the American left now, which is like everyone has this gulf, this massive gulf in their imagination where they can imagine stupid liberal shit like mutual aid, protests, voting, NGO shit, like just doing charity bullshit. And then they can imagine terrorist shit. They can imagine individualist terrorist actions, but they cannot imagine anything in between those two, which is actually past those two, which is like militant organization, like a Vanguard Party. And there's a reason for that. Like they can't even talk about it or imagine it, because then that would implicate them, because then they would have to talk about why they haven't talked about it before, why they don't talk about it in any kind of safe academic sense with their public platforms where they're reaching millions and millions of people, and they could therefore could potentially influence those people to create something like that, or why they haven't done it themselves, of course. But like, if you just leave out the thing, like where you don't do the thing where you call all of your propagandists armchair revolutionaries, and you say, like, there should be revolutionaries and there is a role for propaganda. So why aren't the propagandists doing the correct propaganda? Why aren't they doing the propaganda where they tell you actual solutions to the fascism beyond, hey, just do some vague shit in your community. Just do some charity, guys. Let's do that for a few more decades. It's going to work someday. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's just grifting. Yeah. It's grifting.
Yeah, I mean, they make a lot of money. These guys are.
You do not get, as a Western leftist, to make demands of China to interfere more, like, because it's not like they're recognizing actual anti-imperialist countries who are fighting fascists. They're not going to support Russia on the Chapo Trap House podcast. They're not going to say that Russia is actually anti-imperialist for fighting the proxy war against the NATO empire, are they? So they're just going to, like, that's the whole point. Like, what if China were to actually start doing some shit? Would you support it? Would you say that, like, oh, I actually support this anti-imperialist? No. You would be like, oh, it's actually kind of imperialist for China to interfere militarily. Like, it's actually kind of imperialist for, like, it's just the same thing. Like all these fucking liberal podcasts have just gone with the Russia is imperialist line. So what makes anybody believe that any of the liberals who are demanding China would do more would recognize it even if they did? They would call it fucking imperialist. They would oppose it. Like,
yeah. I think I was just recently skimming through YouTube and seeing like what random like brain drain shitlib video would come up, and sorry, my cat. So I saw. Thank you. His name is Sushi. He's the best. He's a Velcro baby. But I saw this one video and I was like, what could this be? And it basically was talking about like why Putin is losing the war, and like why Putin is actually why Venezuela like Maduro's like kidnapping and bombing and stuff is bad for Putin. And it's like they try to pull it back to like somehow Putin is like losing a grip in his own country somehow because of this international relationship. I watched it and I skimmed it for like 2 seconds and I was like, okay, hold on, I can't fucking watch this. I'm gonna like lose brain cells watching this.
Yeah.
I wish I could pull up the video because it's just so stupid.
The war in Ukraine has been like awesome for Putin.
Before we get there, we gotta wrap up Venezuela though.
Yeah. So Venezuela. The long story short, with Venezuela, it's all about oil. It has always been about the oil. ExxonMobil, the company, the oil gas company, really wants access to the natural resources in Venezuela. Chevron has access to Venezuela's oil already, even after they nationalized it, because Chavez, the stipulation that he made when he nationalized the industry was like, if you can stay here as a company as long as you have just like paper thin profit margins, as long as most of it goes to us. And Chevron was like, okay, fine, we'll keep going. But there's so much oil politics. They're a petrol state. So that is what they have to work with, even if they have their Bolivarian revolution and everything, and like they're trying to build up their own productive forces. They still have to contend with capitalism and contend with imperialism as it exists around them, right?
And a lot of people are saying that it's got nothing to do with the oil because the oil in Venezuela is apparently shitty and requires more processing, so it's not anywhere near as profitable. And it's like, yeah, but it's also, that is true. It's shitty oil. It's still oil. So shut up, you fucking idiot. Like it's the largest oil reserves in the world.
They have around 300 billion barrels of oil that can be tapped. With Saudi Arabia right behind that with like $260 billion of oil.
You can also say that it's not just about the oil, and that still doesn't make it any better on the US's part.
No.
Yeah.
And oil is
like Cuba doesn't have oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oil is a finite resource. Eventually, shitty oil is going to be the only oil that's left. So it's like, it is about oil. It's about oil supply, because one of the reasons people don't get this, like, it's not actually just all about selling oil. It's about taking it and accumulating it to manipulate the oil price. So you like Saudi Arabia, for example, has often manipulates the oil price by not releasing as much oil as they produce. They will keep some in storage and not release it, like sell it. They could sell it if they wanted to, but they don't, because by artificially holding it back, they make more money because it drives the prices up. So that's why having access to markets, even if you don't even sell it, just stopping Venezuela from selling oil. And that's the other thing as well, is China gets a shitload of its oil from Venezuela. Oh yeah. So by just taking the Venezuelan oil, now China has to figure out where it's going to get its oil from, because China doesn't produce its own oil. And Russia does produce oil, but it doesn't produce enough oil for the Chinese domestic market. So China's going to have to find another place to get oil from. And hopefully that'll influence them to do something in Latin America. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I also would like it if China did it, but I'm not going to try and make those demands from my fucking podcast chair. Like,
yeah, I think that the whole like, it's important to, you know, if we're gonna call ourselves Marxists or, you know, anything along those lines, I think looking at China and understanding its specific conditions and like what is it trying to accomplish, you know, how it's playing the long game really, and like they have come out and condemned what is, you know, going on in Venezuela now, and what the United States has done. Russia as well. They're, you know, showing sympathies and saying like, yes, this is awful. But like realistically, like what can they do? You know, like you're dealing with a massive global empire that is the United States. And I heard some people say like, oh, I don't agree with this, but I heard some people say like, oh, well, maybe China is trying to avoid nuclear war with the United States, and that's why they haven't done anything. And it's like, well, I think even then, I don't think that they're necessarily trying to avoid it. I think they just their priorities are very focused on their own domestic socialism that they're building up, right? Yeah. And that comes first before everything else.
Yeah, I shared an article from, I think it was William Murphy. I know the last name was Murphy, some Irish guy on Substack. He's also ACP aligned. Unfortunately, I found out after the fact, but he still had a good Substack article regarding this exact situation. And he said why China did not respond militarily to the U.S. invasion of Venezuela and why that actually makes the U.S. terrified. And the whole gist of it was basically that the U.S. is acting like this and lashing out in these exceptional and like very illegal ways because it doesn't feel like it has any other option, because it feels backed into a corner. And once again, I hate to bring back the Chapo episode, but like they referenced this concept on that episode and they said it's just cope. They said it actually is just cope from anti-imperialists to say that the U.S. is in a bad position by doing this because they were successful. And I think that's really short-sighted and stupid of them to even say, because it's like it's just that American nationalist brain where you just assume from your point of view, you just assume that the U.S. is the most all-powerful empire that has the most powerful military and can't be defeated. Now, I don't know, maybe you guys think that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. I don't think that's likely to happen. I think the U.S. can't even run the U.S. It has trouble running proxy states. It has trouble controlling entire other countries that it wants to be useful. It has trouble winning a proxy war against Russia in like little old Ukraine. Like, I just do not think the U.S. has its shit together that well to be able to like control all of Venezuela as well. People are already pointing out, it's just only been a couple of days, people are pointing out that the government in Venezuela hasn't actually changed. Like the vice president has kind of stepped into the role, and the Maduro quote-unquote regime is still basically in place. So everybody is starting to ask on Twitter, like, well, what was the point of this? Like, we got a guy, it looks like a big performative victory, but like, what did we really change in Venezuela? I don't know. It's just
I believe Bennett Banata was talking about that exact thing, and he was saying that he thinks that potentially this was all like kind of set up,
prearranged,
and like prearranged to kind of give Maduro an out, essentially, because he was wanting to go into exile recently, I believe. Like Maduro was like, "Hey, I'll go into exile if you promise not to fucking destroy Venezuela," or something along those lines.
That was the deal he put forwards, originally.
Yeah, and so they possibly told the Venezuelan military to stand down and just say, hey, Vice President, you can keep doing what you're doing. We're just going to take Maduro, and then we can kind of let it be water under the bridge. And that might be like a tactical retreat. I don't know, but whatever.
My take on Venezuela, more or less, is that I genuinely do think that Maduro's government was in on it. I don't know if Maduro himself was in on it, but I think his government was certainly in on it, and they sold him out. His vice president probably sold him out. I think, she's talking about how there's only one president of Venezuela, and that's Maduro. Blah blah blah. But she has to do that. I think that she sold him out because there's no way. So I'll tell you why. Here's the reason why. First of all, the only casualties besides the civilians killed in the strikes, the only military casualties were the ones around Maduro himself, right? So I think if Maduro was in on it, his palace guard or his bodyguard, the soldiers who are directly attached to him, would not have been killed. He would have sent them home or something, and he would have just been there by himself because he would have known the American operators would have just killed them to leave no witnesses. So I don't think Maduro knew that knew about it. That's one of the reasons why, because all the military casualties just about were Maduro's personal guard, and there's stuff floating around. People are saying that they might have actually been shot in the head, execution style.
I was going to bring that up. That tweet that I saw that's like saying that they were just shot, like 40 dudes shot in the back of the head, all the same way, like wild.
Yeah, they basically they surrendered.
I mean, the only confirmation I have of it is from the tweet, but like the fact that like I've heard it from that tweet and then multiple other sources are saying it seems like one of those things. It's like the U.S. government is not going to admit that they fucking did that, but it sounds like they did that shit.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So it's very likely that Maduro's government was like in on it to some extent. And he wasn't in on it, which is why his palatial guard were actually killed, because there's no way they would have been killed if he was in on it. He would have made sure that they weren't on duty or something. Anyway, so like there's that, and then there's the other thing where it's like they came in with helicopters into Caracas to get him, and no helicopters were shot down. Yeah, no helicopters were shot down. They say there might have been one helicopter that was shot down, but I don't even think that's true either.
Venezuela was claiming they shot down like several, but again, no confirmed reports from anywhere else, just like the one source in Venezuela saying they did. But again, that's also what the U.S. would say. They would deny that any got shot down. Like,
yeah. So I don't. I have no idea.
The only way to know is if we pay attention for like the next couple months, and then somebody points out some kind of like really uptick, like a spike in training exercise deaths among Delta Force, because it wasn't the SEALs this time, it was Delta Force that went in. So if you see a bunch of training exercise deaths in Delta Force listed a little while from now when they can safely remove it, because that's what they also say is happening, is that like if there were any American casualties, that's what they do. That's how they hide them. So.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, they hide them as training exercises.
What even is the deal with, what is Delta Force? How's that different from like Navy SEALs?
It's the Army's version of the Special Forces. So actually, that's another thing they mentioned on fucking Chapo today, is that like since Hegseth was like an Army guy, and like the Navy SEALs were kind of branded as like the woke Special Forces of the last few decades. I don't know what they were referencing to make that claim, but that's what they were saying. And they were saying, so because Hegseth and Trump is his guy, that it's always going to be the Army guys for like this Trump 2 term instead of like the Navy guys or whoever else, the Air Force. I don't know.
Interesting.
That's crazy, man.
I also wanted to say, just like regarding Venezuela, like just because like I don't think this disproves Marxism in any way. Like people I think on the Western left, people who identify as socialists, think that Marxism means that what online socialists want to happen happens all the time. And that's obviously not the case. Like it's just not the case that like Marxists win handedly all day, every day, every time they encounter fascists or capitalists. Like there have obviously been retreats, there have been entire national defeats in Marxism, and it still hasn't like defeated Marxism as a concept. It hasn't resulted in like a more stable capitalism that serves more people, that is like, you know, an improvement over socialism. Like people seem to think that like Marxism being correct means that the U.S. can't have any victories. It can't make any wins or whatever. It's like, no, the U.S. could take over the whole Western Hemisphere. It could take over like all of South America in the next few decades. Who the hell knows? Like it's most likely, everybody's already predicting that the U.S. will take over Canada and Greenland pretty soon. That could happen. The U.S. could like reconstitute some form of its empire, but that still wouldn't even prove Marxism wrong. Like it would just prove that people who are doing Marxism continue to resist empire, whereas people who are not doing Marxism, people who are doing like liberal democracies, who are doing like, I don't know, like the faux liberal bullshit, like that what most countries are doing, that they will easily fall to like tyrants, to like outside pressure, because either people don't believe in those countries' projects enough to defend them, or they just don't have some kind of like strong enough system to be able to withstand that kind of outside aggression. But like, I'm just saying, like, let me know when the U.S. successfully topples China, or when China collapses on its own because Marxism actually is a failure. Then I will agree with you. Then I maybe will have to consider that like I was wrong to adopt Marxism as a philosophy just from my observation of geopolitics over the last few years. Like, I just don't think that's going to be the case. Like, if the U.S. takes over a whole bunch of countries, and then becomes this like stable empire that serves its citizenry, that like provides this like cush lifestyle of automation and luxury for all its people, and doesn't have some kind of like exploited underclass, let alone that takes up a majority of the world to serve that like small minority at home, like yeah, then I would consider that maybe capitalism is actually working really well and liberal democracy was right after all. But like that's not going to fucking happen. Like no one sees that as a possible future. So it's like, what are we even talking about here? Like Marxism does not mean that tankies get what they want all the time. Marxism means that in general, people who are doing Marxism will defeat fascism overall, just over the long term, over the long macro trend of like centuries here. Like it doesn't mean that you're going to get everything you want all the time.
Yeah, you were just making me think of like how like with Trump potentially wanting to colonize Greenland and control the Arctic to not allow China or Russia to have more control over the Arctic region, and that how people who are doing Marxism in the real world, like China or Laos or Vietnam or whatever, is it really any different from how these imperialist countries and like the US specifically, like using its power, using its material resources to supply proxy wars, proxy states like Ukraine or whatever, or colonizing new territories that they could potentially do at some point in the future, who knows, whatever capitalism needs to do to expand its markets. I think one potential thing, or rather, I think that at the end of the day, I think that both sides are doing material analysis in a way, but it's looking at it from like opposite ends of the spectrum, where you've got the imperialists, the Nazis, the fascists saying, okay, yeah, well, we're going to use capitalism to increase our productive forces, quote unquote, to use whatever language you want to use.
By force.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's going to be, it reminds me of Hillary Clinton talking about China and saying like, well, if America is going to compete with China, we have to do state capitalism the way that they're doing it. And it's like, well, it's because China has a socialist model and they are controlling it properly, right?
If the USA did state capitalism with all of its like imperialist plunder, do you know how much fucking powerful it would be? It's just thank God that the average fucking American oligarch is too, like the average American oligarch and American like business person is too fucking self-centered and egotistical and selfish to think about things in the long term. They only think about their own personal wealth. Instead of thinking about what's the most sustainable thing to do for their empire.
They also couldn't, even if they wanted to. Like, it's actually such a great thing that there is not some kind of like half-assed socialist revolution in the US at any time, like right now or in the recent past, or probably not in the near future. It's like so good that like the US does not adopt some kind of like liberal like social democratic version of like what we like the state capitalism thing, like where it just incorporates the imperialism but then labels it socialism and still impoverishes most of the world to like fund its like largesse. Like that would actually be really awful, because then that would like it would give those oligarchs this level of state organization and power. They would have access to this huge behemoth of like just massive power that they can't do it. Like they literally cannot do that, because even if they wanted to, like even if there was some like amazing visionary, like what everybody says Elon Musk is, but like actually that, like not just a charlatan, like predatory South African dude. Like imagine if he was actually like the genius with the forethought of like seeing through generations of like what could be, and says, look, I'm actually going to build like a really powerful state project here. And then like a bunch of other oligarchs wanted, like he wouldn't be able to do it. He'd be like Caesar in the palace getting stabbed by a bunch of other rich pedophiles, because like they want the power too, and they can't work together for anything more than a quarter. Like they can't do it.
Yeah. Man, the total kind of a little harken back to the Venezuela thing. I recently saw somebody say like on the news, or it was a comment on a video talking about Maduro getting captured and Caracas getting bombed along with like the 5 other states that got attacked. And someone said, "This is just a distraction from the Epstein files," and like fully seriously.
Oh yeah, they believe it.
And I was like, okay, the Epstein files are not as important as people dying at the hands of U.S. imperialism. And they were like, get a load of this guy. and I'm like, are you
just
crazy?
downplayed it, dude?
So you're defending Epstein? No. It is literally a distraction. And you coming in here to say that a country having its sovereignty being threatened is a distraction for the Epstein files is just like insane levels of a labor aristocrat cope, you know? Like white settler bullshit.
I don't remember who was talking about it, but yeah, on that same line, I forget who it was, but it's like, okay, so it is a distraction from the Epstein files. Okay. So what were you going to do about the Epstein files, by the way? Like, what were you?
Yeah.
What was going to happen with the Epstein files? Like,
Yeah.
it's the thing is, like, fucking nothing was ever going to happen with the Epstein files. I don't give a I, to be honest, don't give a shit about them anymore.
It's
like,
like oh, a bunch of pedophiles run the fucking world. Yes, we already know that.
It's
Like,
actually funny.
Not new.
It's funny how long we have been calling that on this show and the previous version of the show. Like when we were recording the other episodes that like with a long form like effort post episodes like 2 fucking years ago, we were saying that. We were like, actually, yeah, nothing's going to happen with the Epstein files. You guys should probably just move on or create an actual vanguard, create like a revolutionary movement that could do something about it, or just give up because you guys are joking. Like you're being losers.
Yeah, it's like it's like what are they gonna like? Everyone's like, this is a distraction from the Epstein files. This is a distraction from the Epstein files. It's like, and part of me, the fact that nothing is ever going to be done about Epstein files. Trump's not going to be arrested for being a pedophile. None of these people are going to get arrested. None of these people are going to go to prison. Kind of makes me think that maybe the Epstein files are a distraction from
Everything else.
Yeah, everything else.
Just the actual systemic brutality that you live under, like the actual just like
yeah.
Even if they weren't pedophiles, they would be bad enough people because of what they do in their legal business lives. Like the amount of people they
may not be they may not be raping children, but they're still raping the global south of its resources and people and labor, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And to be clear, they are molesting.
They are, absolutely. I'm not denying that. Let me do the disclaimer. I'm not denying that Epstein is a whole human being. Yes, I'm not downplaying it at all, but people took what I said and interpreted it that way and said, "Oh, you must be defending Epstein." I'm like, "No, the fuck, I'm not." Yes, obviously that is bad.
They'd be like, "How much is Israel paying you, bro?" I was like, "Oh, shut the fuck up."
People were literally like, "Oh, this guy's a Fed." What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. So stupid.
Yeah.
God, stupid.
I just don't know how you guys, I mean, not you guys, but I'm just like anybody in particular. I don't know how more people on the American left are not just seeing the level of like, I just don't have any other word for it. It's like stupidity. Like it really is just stupidity, like unwillingness to see the conditions in front of your face, to analyze anything with any kind of like connectedness where you remember anything for more than like a month at a time. I made that post today. I was like, hey guys, how did the Portland Frog go? Did that work out all right? Did I stop kidnapping your neighbors yet? How about the polka dot dress lady? Surely that worked, right? Or no? How about the dance protest? Maybe they worked. No. Oh damn! Like nobody's connecting these things.
I forgot about that.
Nobody's remembering for more than about a month or so. Nobody's progressing. They're not like reiterating or like making any kind of progress on like their struggles here. And again, that's what Marxism is actually about. Marxism is the science of actually being able to analyze these things, to resist the government that is exploiting you, and then actually do something about it in a scientific and coherent way. And people are not about that. And that's what I'm very frustrated with. It's like, I'm not with these people. Like, I'm beyond frustrated. I don't align with the American leftists anymore because they are determined to not learn from history, from current conditions, from contemporary reality, none of it. Like, they just don't actually want to do that because their motivations are not there.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask Jared to do the Ukraine update next, but I'll wait for you to get back from the bathroom. But
yeah,
I also want to say,
I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to tie this all together, like I was saying before about Venezuela, like Marxism does not mean that socialists, like liberals who call themselves socialists in fascist countries, It does not mean that they get everything they want all the time. That is certainly not the case. Like, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys if you thought that like Marxism being an immortal science meant that like Bernie was going to give you free healthcare. Does not mean that at all.
He mad. You post that meme and it is right every time.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
so
I'll never
fucking
get sick
true.
of it.
Yeah,
I just
he mad.
I mean, like, again, look at the Soviet Union. Look at all their struggles in World War II against fascism. They had a lot of losses. There was a lot of things that they like just blatantly lost, mistakes that they made. Like, it doesn't give you infinite foresight. It's not like some kind of Jedi magical power here. Like, it just gives you a better way, a better heuristic, and a way of analyzing current events, history, the conditions that you're in, to be able to make better decisions, or even just be able to predict better what forces are going to prevail over the others, just looking at things as the way they are. It's like,
Yeah, it's
I
a
can say
lens.
that's why I was like so adamant about the Chinese underground cities a couple months ago. It's like, yeah, you can say maybe they have some underground cities already, maybe they have some bomb shelters they've converted into some stuff since World War II or whatever, or you can just look at the conditions as they exist and say, I don't have to know what's underground in China to know that if there is any country that's going to be able to build underground cities to survive climate change, it's that fucking country.
It
It's not
will be
anywhere in the
China.
West. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think as far as like Marxism being this like, I mean, it is the immortal science. It is the one thing that I feel like kind of it grounds me. You know,
yeah.
aside from my own personal relationships that I have with people that help keep me where I am, right? You know, in the humanistic way, Marxism is this thing that it is the framework that helps me understand the world as it is. You know,
And it prevents you from getting caught up in like the loser shit, like literal drama. Like I'm sad to say that like way too many of the people who identify as Marxist or leftist or whatever are actually just news brains. Like they're just people who are quote unquote monitoring the situation. But what that means is that they're just consuming news. They're consuming news like it's any other kind of like media.
They're just doom scrolling.
Infotainment. Yeah, they're just doom scrolling. And they're not, again, connecting this thing. If they were, they would remember the Portland Frog. They would be saying now, a month later, hey, what's up with the Portland Frog? Why didn't that work? Why didn't that help us out? We were all so into the Portland Frog. We were all sharing the memes. We were all buying the merch, right? You guys, I bought the merch. I got so much Portland Frog merch. You guys have no idea. Like, that's what like they should, you got to remember. Like, you just have to remember for more than a month. Like,
yeah. And I was kind of having this thought along those lines of like, the news cycle, right? I was like, man, I haven't seen too many videos out of Palestine recently. Did they kill all the journalists? And then I had the thought. I didn't even like say it to anybody. I didn't speak it. My phone literally read my brain thoughts and was like, "Oh, okay, we'll show you." And I saw more shit, you know. And I know I'm joking, but like I saw it and I was just like, yeah, this doesn't change. The documentation of what's going on in Palestine does not change. It just keeps being awful, and people don't care. You know, like Americans don't care. They say "boo-hoo, my tax dollars" when they watch people get their heads blown up. The level of moral depravity. Like this is a conversation that I've gotten into recently, where people like tell me like, "Oh, you're a Marxist." Like, well, you know, when I say, well, they're like, do you think so and so is good or bad? And I had to say like, well, I don't really work in good and bad or like the moral sense of things,
like
because it's not a
12-year-old.
Exactly, like the world is very nuanced. To use that word unironically, the world is very nuanced, and there's not simple black and white of like what is good and what is bad, and who's a good person, who's a bad person. Like there are everybody is in this like gradient, right, along those lines, and using morality as like a tool to analyze the world around you is going to lead you to failure, because it does not teach you to actually look at the facts and look at what's going on. It's idealistic, you know, and it's like religious analysis of things. Like I've spoken to Christians recently about all this, and like we had like a longer conversation about it. But whenever I say like take morality out of it, I'm a Marxist. I don't deal with that, you know. and they're like, well, how do you even decide what's good or bad? And it's like, well, there's science behind all of this, right? There's so much science to back everything up, like primate society logic and shit. Anyways, hey Jared.
Hey, I'm back. Liberals think that politics. I had my headphones on while I was shitting.
Nice.
I was listening to that. Liberals think that politics is like a fucking Marvel movie. They think there's like good guys and bad guys, and like the good guys are going to fight the bad guys, and then there'll be like a clean resolution. And it's that's just a juvenile way of thinking.
It is.
It's just liberalism.
It also leads to this effect where people think that being a leftist just means believing the correct things and then not doing anything, like not doing anything whatsoever.
Yes.
Or if you do things, then it's just consumption choices that you then lord over everyone else who doesn't make those same consumption choices. But then don't ever connect all those consumption choices and say, actually, I just live in a bad country that exploits other countries. Maybe I should move to a less exploitative, imperialistic country. And then my overall consumption will all be better. It will all be more ethical. And I don't have to beat myself over the head with all these individuals' consumption choices and then lord them over other people, because actually politics is not about self-righteousness or being a better person than your neighbor who you are in the same conditions in. It's actually like about improving the conditions of your society overall systemically, because politics is a system. So weird. Like,
yes. All of society, man. Yeah.
Jared, I did interrupt you though, sorry. You were saying they were like Marvel movies, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no, you didn't interrupt me. It's all good. It's just really weird that like if you tell someone that you're like a communist, you all of a sudden have to like justify it and talk about. People ask you about like, oh, what do you think of X, Y, and Z political figure, as Joseph said. But we'd never apply that to anything else. Anyone who's like a capitalist, pro-capitalist liberal, never have to justify that. Be like, okay, well, explain. You just ask them like, oh, okay, what do you think of George Washington destroyed so many Indian nations and committed genocide. Why do you support him? He was a liberal.
So you've read The Wealth of Nations? How do you feel about Adam Smith?
Yeah, exactly. So why do you support what do you think of Obama, king of the drone strikes? Like we don't have to apply that to liberals, because they will be like, well, of course I don't condone every single action that my liberal heroes have done. And it's like, okay, we'll apply that. Okay, we'll apply that.
They paid for them all.
Yeah, there's like apply that to the communist leaders as well. Like, why don't I get to do that, but you get to? And your leaders are infinitely worse. So much
and
worse.
also have more to do with your daily activities and daily labor than I have to do with any communist who ever existed in history, that I literally never contributed to any of their projects whatsoever, other than saying nice things about them today. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
I only read their books and I consume their ideas, but that's that is the ideological side of things when you're somebody who lives in the imperial core. That's all you can do.
How's this for a segue? Speaking of communists that we love and support wholeheartedly, unconditionally, and without question, let's talk about Putin. Let's talk about Ukraine.
All right, Jared, what's going on with that?
Oh, I just had a little teeny tiny update on Ukraine. It's not a huge update, but it's just like
you're honorary Ukrainian.
I'm the Ukrainian. I'm the honorary Ukrainian. Basically, all that everyone needs to know is that Russia took more territory in 2025 than in 2023 and 2024 combined.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that territory is because they recaptured Kursk. Like they pushed Ukraine completely out of Kursk. So that kind of spikes the numbers a little bit. That's like half the gains was recapturing Kursk. But even if you take Kursk out, it was like 20. You take Kursk out, which was about half the gains. That means they took 25% more territory than they did last year and the year before. 2024 and the year before, 2023. So it's great. Because it's a war of attrition. It's not really about territory per se, but territory is like a good indicator of how the attritional war is going. Ukraine's not on the verge of collapsing, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I saw
They're running out
the
of.
Blue Sky Liberals. They were saying that Russia has taken 0.8% of Ukraine, and they were acting like this is a major victory for Ukraine. Is like only losing less than 10% of the territory. But I'm like, that's actually not like a good thing. Like, you don't actually want to lose like any percent of your territory, really. Especially when the goal was like balkanizing Russia, overthrowing Putin, toppling the thing that you claim is an imperialist empire or whatever. But like, people have since long abandoned that. I think the goal is now just survive. Maybe have Ukraine left after this is over.
Yeah, and like the majority of the territory is going to the territory changes will have the majority of territory changes will happen at the when the war like eventually ends.
Yeah, whatever negotiations take place.
Yeah, it's not going to be fucking because it's not going to be massive like changes on the front line like this is World War II or something. It's just not. There'll be a bunch of territory transfers right at the end of the war. I mean, they occupy like 25%, more than 25% of the country, with the Donbass and Luhansk and Crimea as well, if you include Crimea. And it's a war of attrition, so territory at the end of the day doesn't really matter that much. It's about whoever runs out of manpower first, and once someone runs out of manpower, that's it. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like World War One. Like World War One is the closest comparison. I sent in the chat a while ago a video that showed how the front lines of World War One moved, and I think I'm just going to shout out this video. Let me find it, and I'll tell people when people eventually listen to this, they can go watch it in their own time. But the video is called, it's by Italian Mapper. That's a YouTube channel. So go on YouTube and type in World War One every day with army sizes by Italian, and the channel should be called Italian Mapper. And you will watch. Don't look at the Eastern Front, because the Eastern Front did change a fair bit. It didn't really, actually. It kind of just went back and forth and then just settled in one spot. But the Eastern Front of World War One had the most territory changes. That had less to do with actual territory changes and more to do with how fucking incompetent the Tsar of Russia was and how, like, there were, like, mass desertions of Russian soldiers. And at one point, he was like, oh, we should all fall back to this spot. So the Russians just gave up a shitload of territory and moved back, and then pushed back, blah, 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 back and forwards. And then the Russians had a revolution in 1917. Communists were in charge. They wanted to exit the war because it was a stupid fucking war. And the deal was Germany would let them leave the war if they gave up X amount of territory. So the borders moved again back. And Russia, or the USSR, gave up a bunch of territory to get out of the war, which Russia got that territory back because Germany would lose World War One, and Russia would be like, okay, this is ours again, and they took it back.
Nice.
But so outside of the Eastern Front, which was a very different thing where a bunch of stuff was happening, that's where it changed a fair bit. Look at all the other fronts, like in Turkey, where Turkey was fighting the USSR, and Turkey was fighting the Balkans, or the Balkans were fighting, or more importantly, look at the Western Front when you look at it, which is around Belgium and France. Everywhere else besides the Eastern Front up near Russia, everywhere else, the lines basically didn't move for the entire war, and the war went for like I forget how many years it went for. It went for like 5 years or something, and killed like millions of people, and the territory just didn't move that much.
They just stood in a line and shot each other for years.
Fun.
Yeah, I mean, even if you take into account the Eastern Front and those movements, the territory really didn't move that much overall. So that's the thing with like wars of attrition it's not about territory changes. People who were saying like, oh, at this rate, Russia will be into Kiev by 2286. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. That, like, they were saying the same thing during World War One. Germany was like, oh yeah, at this rate, the Allies will get to Berlin 300 years in the future. And it's like, no, what will happen is Germany's economy will fucking collapse. There'll be mass desertions in the army which, by the way, like one of the things that happened right before Germany lost the war is mass desertions, massive desertions in the lead up, and their economy collapsed. Ukraine is having massive amounts of desertions as well. It's losing more troops to desertions than on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and
crazy.
their economy is being propped up by the US. The only reason they have an economy is because they're being propped up by the US. If they weren't being propped up by the US, they would have lost ages ago. But as it stands now, because they're being propped up, they'll probably hold out for like another year or so. But it's basically over. They're not on the verge of collapsing right now.
It's funny because we also keep saying it's so close to being over, but that it can go on for a long time. Like every time we do a Ukraine update, that is also like the main message. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of the attempted hit on Putin, whether you believe that even happened or not, because that also is like a contentious thing. Like people, like the Russians are obviously saying like, here's the evidence, here is the transponders from the drones that were sent to attack Putin's house in Novgorod or wherever he lives. Here's like the evidence for it. And it also would stand to reason. Like, I believe that they tried this because that's also what the U.S. did right when they were trying to negotiate with Iran. Like, they were like doing these like fake negotiations with Iran, and then they strike. Like, they start striking like the fucking nuclear plants. They send B-2 bombers like in the air as Trump is saying on the news, like, "Oh, we're coming to the negotiation table. We're gonna work it all out." It's like that is literally the Western playbook: is say you're negotiating and then try and take out the negotiators, try and take out the main guy. Like Israel has done that a number of times with Hamas leaders. Like that's what they fucking do. So I certainly think that that's what they were trying to do, is like lead Russia into a false sense of security and then try to take out Putin, which is what they've been saying they wanted to do since 2022. Like,
yeah, I can't say for sure whether or not it's totally 100% real or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was fully a real thing that happened, or that there's, because they've got the receipts, they've got information, they've got data.
They've got the receipts, King. They've got them.
They've got the receipts.
They've got them.
But like, I just wish that Putin would stop edging us from his goon cave.
I mean, that is the speculations that they're going to try and take out Zelensky now. Like that's what like Russia has kind of been implying, but not saying outright. They're like, oh, there will be consequences, and all the people who are like watching the war for the last several years, they're like, oh, that means they're going to finally take out Zelensky. Like Zelensky better watch the fuck out. He's going to be dead. It's like I can see it happening. I can see it.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin has said in the past that they've known where, basically since the beginning of the war, they've known the exact locations of where Zelensky is, but they've not attacked him because they don't want to. They've not attacked him because they don't want to set a precedent of like assassinating leaders, because they could. Yeah. Ukraine would try and assassinate in response. Like it's kind of an off limits thing. Mm-hmm. The other reason is because it would, if they killed Zelensky, I guess earlier in the war, if they killed Zelensky, it would like martyr him and he would be a rallying cry for Ukraine. At this point, he's really not popular with the Ukrainian people because his government, because of the corruption, the very recent corruption scandal that just happened, where Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. It always not always has been, but it has been since
the fall of the Soviet Union.
The fall of the Soviet Union. It's been one of the most corrupt countries in the world. So, and apparently the situation there, the military is so fucking corrupt. The whole way that their conscription and military system works there is so corrupt, because you have to bribe. So you'll get forcibly conscripted, right? And then you have to like bribe your way into being deployed, not on the front line. The only people who get put on the front line are people who don't pay the bribe, because they either can't afford it, or for whatever reason they don't pay it. Yeah.
The poorest ones go first.
Yeah, literally. And like the kids of Ukrainian oligarchs, do you think the kids of Ukrainian oligarchs are fighting in the war?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, of course not.
It's a death sentence. It's a fucking death sentence to be sent to the front. It's also a death sentence for Russian soldiers to be sent to the front. But for some reason, Russians are like, they get paid really well for being soldiers. So like they're having heaps. They don't conscript anyone. It's all volunteers.
Hmm.
Which
Hell yeah.
everyone's volunteering, even though
It can't be as deadly to be the Russian side because I am not seeing the videos coming out of Russia of people. Well, one, they're not conscripting, but like people don't sign up to like die for money. Like Russians are humans too. They understand that like you can't spend it while you're dead. So like if they really think that they are that sure to die at the front lines, like they would not be signing up. Like I think that what you were saying earlier there's massive desertions when a country is losing a war. Like I think it is the case that people who are on the front line know better what is going on the front lines than the politicians. Like that's just the fucking nature of war. So yes, of course you're going to see desertions before that shit trickles up to the top and people actually start making war plans based on the fact that they are fucking losing.
Yeah. Very true.
Exactly. So it's like it's I don't know, it's hard to sort of think about. I guess if you're a Russian and you sign up to join the army, you're probably not going to die. It's more like anyone who's in a combat role directly on the front line is very, very, very likely to die. Actually, not the front line, actually. Never mind, sorry. Sorry, I got that wrong. So most of the casualties in the Ukraine war at the moment are not on the front line anymore. They're happening behind the front line because it's all drones and stuff. It's all fucking drones attacking supplies. Yeah. So the most dangerous spot to be for a soldier on either side is support behind the front lines. If you're driving a truck that's moving ammunition, food and whatnot to the front line, you're more likely to be killed than the guys on the front line. Most of the stuff that's happening on the front line is Russian soldiers infiltrating in small squads of like 2 or 3, like teeny tiny little squads. It's called the Russian infiltration tactics that they've been using, where they basically just go up in little teeny tiny squads and just be a bunch of little sneaky boys. And that's basically the whole war. It's also why this war fucking is trash. It's boring. Like there's no, I sound like such a fucking first worlder. Like the war has to be my entertainment, but like war is like so. This is going to be such a podcaster thing, but like it's so like there's no. The closest comparison you can make of this war is like World War I, but like after this war is finished, there's not going to really be any comparison to it. Like so much has changed. They're going to be comparing future wars to this war because it's like so different. Just with drones and everything like that, it's completely changed everything. How like not as useful tanks are, not as useful like an air force even is. Like an air force is only useful. Like we can tie this back to Venezuela. An air force is only useful if your opponent doesn't have anti-air guns. And Venezuela chose not to shoot down the helicopters because they were probably in on it. If they had chosen to shoot down the helicopters, they would have killed a bunch of Delta Force people and the mission would not have been successful. Like, as weak as Venezuela's army is, you're not flying fucking helicopters into Caracas. You're just not.
Right.
Yeah. So
I guess the thing that everyone was saying. They were saying like the Russian defenses didn't seem to work very well in Venezuela. And it was like, well, they weren't used. They turned them off because it was obviously an inside job. But go ahead. Yeah.
They didn't even use them.
That's the thing. Like people want to call Maduro a dictator, right? They want to say like, oh, this guy's, or you know, the fucking propaganda American brain says, oh, Maduro's a dictator because they're just listening to whatever Fox News tells them. But like Maduro did not have a lot of political power, genuinely, like especially within like a post-Chavez Venezuelan government. The division of power was very democratic. You know, that's a part of the reason why the government hasn't collapsed, even if it was an inside thing, right? He's just one dude that doesn't have the entire country in his grip. It's just one guy who has really sick dance moves and has a really cool sash.
He was a fucking bus driver, dude. Like, he's not a dictator. Like,
yeah, like people like I wish he was a dictator, right? There would have been like there would be so much more interesting shit happening. Sorry, that's another like first worlder thing to say.
No, but Venezuela might have actually like done more to stand up to it. Like, I don't know, I saw some people in the comments of my own post when I was like showing all those videos of Maduro dancing, and some people was like, he should have spent more time preparing, less time goofing around. To be honest, like maybe I don't know, maybe if he had been like
Yeah.
more of a despot, maybe if he'd been more military minded and less of a people's person. Like
Yeah, I think that the criticisms for Maduro being potentially being not, not like war communism enough.
yeah,
I think that there may be some truth to that, because
Well, talking about it as if he's the guy who's like, he probably was doing all the preparations, but then he got fucking stabbed in the back by his own government. So it's like, what's
true.
that?
Also
true.
What preparations?
True.
What preparations can you do, really?
Yeah,
Like,
get your
and he's like,
spoon.
and it's not like he's not even a, Venezuela is not even a socialist country. They're just they're a capitalist country that has I guess so like Chavism or Hugo Chavez. That's just social democracy basically, but a bit more.
Yeah.
They're more revolutionary than militant. Sorry, they're not revolutionary at all. They're more militant than your average social democrats. I'm not saying this is like a criticism of Venezuela or anything like that, but like, what do you can't expect them to act like a communist country because they're not a communist country. But what they did do is they were pretty militant and they did have their militias and whatnot. And if the US did do a ground invasion, it would have gone very badly for the USA, which I think is why the US didn't do one.
Yeah.
Also, I just sent something in the chat earlier. There's a very, very recent news. Apparently, Venezuela is going to be surrendering about 50 million barrels of oil, which is, by the way, that's like 5 days of oil production in Saudi Arabia. So it's it's an insignificant amount of oil. It's a tokenistic amount of oil.
Yeah.
As in, so hopefully this is a sign that this whole situation with Venezuela was like, okay, so we're going to give you Maduro, then we'll give you, Trump's like, oh, we control the oil, and then they'll give them some oil, like that tokenistic amount, and then Trump can like claim that he did something, and that's the end of it, which it's looking like that might be the case. I really fucking hope that's the case. And if so, that's better than the alternative, which was millions of Venezuelans die in a war.
Yeah. It's so funny to me, the way that Trump talked about Machado, like right after this whole thing happened, and he was like, Machado is she has no support or respect from the Venezuelan people.
Chopped liver.
Yeah, there's no way that she could. She's not a people's people. It's
fucker. I don't like that bitch. Whatever.
Yeah.
He was not. That was just very funny to see her just get tossed overboard. Like it couldn't happen to a better person. Like somebody who's willing to just like throw their country under the bus, their entire country under the bus for U.S. imperialism. It's like so happy to see that person just get tossed to the wayside. Good riddance. Like,
yeah. And I think that's at least a good omen, I think, of what could potentially happen.
I wanted to ask you guys, do you think they're going to kill Maduro?
Ooh.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50, man. Like they could hang him. They could do a Saddam to him.
They absolutely could. They could take him to a black site and he'd just be disappeared and gone forever.
We spent all that time talking about Lumumba, about all these other people that like stood up for their country, and the U.S. just fucking killed him, or France killed him, or some European country killed him. Like that shit is not over. We are seeing neocolonialism come back into full effect and revert into just barbaric colonialism. Like,
yeah, they're probably going to kill him.
To be honest, I don't think so. I think they're going to cut a deal or something. Like, I think because if you look at the videos of the pictures and stuff of Maduro, he doesn't seem.
He doesn't look too stressed.
He doesn't look too stressed, like someone whose life is actually on the line. I think.
He's literally saying there with his thumbs up.
I think the thumbs up, and he's always like smiling and stuff. And it could be he's just putting on a brave face for the cameras, but I think there's more to it than that. I have a feeling
Saddam looked a lot more serious in custody back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a deal that's been made, and he knows, and it's going to be like, and he's going to be like put under because they kidnapped his wife as well, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you kidnap his wife as well? Like, they didn't do that to like Saddam Hussein, I'm pretty sure.
Or like Gaddafi, right? With Gaddafi, they
Gaddafi.
just murdered him and his whole family. You
That's
know?
actually the reason they did that is because of that's the one thing Biden did improve about the ICE camps is that they have to keep the families together now because that was the big thing from Trump 1 is the family separation. So Biden didn't close the ICE detention centers or let the kids out of cages, but they got to keep the families together. I'm making this up, by the way. I'm just like that's a joke.
I was like, what the fuck?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So
Oh my
yeah, he's
God.
they're probably gonna. I reckon they'll put him in. They actually will give him like the exile or house arrest or some shit like that. They'll put him in exile somewhere, and then he'll probably just catch a plane to Russia and live there with Bashar al-Assad in the.
That'd be cool. That's the best case scenario.
They're gonna
Yeah,
live in
the
a they're gonna live in a streamer content creator house.
Yeah,
Assad is playing a lot of video games, he says.
You've got Assad, and Putin will come over and smoke weed every now and then with them. You've got Assad, Putin,
Maduro.
Zelensky when he's like not doing the war face.
Zelensky in there as well. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they're all living in a content creator house. Oh,
yeah.
that would be so funny.
Yeah, I
Alright,
don't.
you guys,
I don't think they're
yeah,
gonna kill him. I don't think
I'm like 50-50, leaning on the side that they'll let him live, but I think it's like half and half. I really have no idea. I could definitely be proven wrong.
It's the U.S. has killed people for less.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've killed leaders for far less than that. Than having a shitload of oil.
Yeah,
Just for being a communist, you can be like, kill that guy.
Yeah.
Somebody
Alright, you guys wanna
shoot
wrap
him.
it up here. I'm just going to try and get into like another section, but we only got like another 10 minutes before it's 9. It's not really enough to get into like a whole other topic because we'll just start going on forever. But for next time, we have so many things that we correlated or collated in the topic list that we did not get to. Like I had this like small
True.
write-up on the history of the Bandera Roja, which is the Venezuelan Marxist Vanguard Party. They're not around anymore, and if they are, it's like a liberal organization. It's not a Marxist-Leninist Vanguard anymore, but it's just the history of the one that started like after during the Cold War. We have this video of like this guy talking about Venezuela not being a dictatorship that I thought was pretty good. We've got some video of the Ayatollah. Oh, here is the article, Why China Won't Fight the U.S. Over Venezuela and Why That Terrifies. It's, let's see. Who is this guy, since I'll actually plug him? It's futuredude.substack.com, so check him out.
Okay.
And then we've got so many other things in here. We've got a whole long video from Madeline Pendleton explaining why you should move to China. Like, again, the
she's
same thing I've
great.
been saying for a couple of years.
I love that video. It's a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got tons of stuff we can get to if you guys want to do this later on this week, next week, whenever. But tons of stuff we can get to that will take a lot more than 10 minutes the next time. So
Yeah, I'm pretty available. So just keep me posted. I'm going away tomorrow, but I'll be back next week. So
yeah, I appreciate you guys
next week.
pressing me to do this because I was going to abandon it when the stream didn't work out. I was so pissed, but thank you guys for like pressing forward. I appreciate it.
Of course, I was really excited to get to talk to you guys again because it's always just like long stretches of just like, all right, we're kind of talking here and there and sending posts and whatever, but it's always good to have the legit Marxist hours.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. You guys, anything else before we wrap it?
I think that's pretty much it. Hey everyone, check out the True Crimes of the Empire YouTube channel. Check out the Marxist Analysis newsletter channel on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Substack.
Yeah.
And the Patreon for everything. Give us money.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We're grifters now.
Yeah.
We're good.
All right.
Well,
thank you all. I will see you guys next time. Let's do it again soon. Later.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Later, guys.